initiative of Poland and Sweden, and it has been very successful.
On the panel, Foreign Minister of Armenia, Minister Mnatsakanyan. Welcome, Minister. Minister Mnatsakanyan has also been Armenia's ambassador to the UN, to Geneva, and to the UK.
The cooperation, and then we were directing our efforts
to Minister. Please, Minister Mnatsakanyan.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, again, my life in 3 minutes, it's not possible. But, you know, I look at the strategic significance of the Eastern Partnership, the 10 years, past 10 years. The way in which the idea was incepted is something to debate and to work out, and with the Polish and Swedish friends to consult. But looking back 10 years and looking at it now and for the next 10 years, I think strategic significance of it just strike me. Just, you know, remember 30 years ago, exactly 30 years ago, the fall of the Berlin Wall, the triumph of freedom, the domination of that, you know, ideology, democracy, human rights, these all matter. The strategic, you know, map of the world was very different compared to what we have today. And then the terminology, I think, there is inertia, the way we see Europe, the European Union, as we knew it in the 90s, and what we have today. Eastern Partnership in the context of neighborhood, I do claim, I do argue that it's not neighborhood, it's the eastern flank of Europe. That is the significance of Eastern Partnership. It's not to the east of Europe, it's to the east of the European Union, but the European Union is not the whole of Europe. The other biggest challenge is values. Shared values, we have to accept, we have to admit, there is a devaluation of shared values. Yes, I represent the country. We have been through a big event, the Velvet non-violent revolution last year. It was possible because of commitment to shared values. For 28 years, since the beginning of Armenia's independence, we declared that. We tripped many times. We have been through big problems. We have been through tragedies. But it was possible to build that kind of a revolution because it was the build-up, and the European Union and the European concept and the European shared values have been at the heart of it. Building gradually the generation which was capable to come out and come up with the revolution. But shared values has a lot of pressures, and not just in Eastern Partnership. Democracy, human rights, are accountability before people, and they are very good for resolving conflicts, unlike the authoritarian regimes. Then, we have to pay attention to that as well. Shared values, what is happening in the European Union? We have to be very open about this. The concept of a liberal democracy is something to reflect on. You all know about Brexit. It's not the end of the European Union, but it's about the diversity of Europe. So this is what makes us part of the bigger story. We all have individual agendas. Bilaterally, we're very glad. I think one of the greatest things about our relations with the European Union is the sense of a wisdom that prevailed and brought us to the Comprehensive Enhanced Partnership Agreement. It's, I'm finishing. It's different from association agreements, but it is basically association, everything association minus the CFTA. So yes, we have different bilateral agendas. But that sense of belonging, the bigger picture of Europe, is what Eastern Partnership makes up, adds to that sense of security. And I'm squaring it in the broader picture of the challenges, security challenges that we are facing in the world today. Not individually only, we all have different security challenges. Not collectively, but globally, in the context of Europe. I think this is where we have to keep on calculating what is Eastern Partnership in the broader context of Europe. We have very important instruments and tools, and you have been discussing that. These are very important things, from digitalization to TNT to all the other things that we have, rule of law, democracy, to small and medium-sized enterprises. These are the instruments. But I'm looking at the strategic significance of the Eastern Partnership, and that's where the value of it, That's where I see the value of it for the next 10 years. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. Personally led the negotiations on behalf of Armenia regarding an association agreement, which Armenia then later opted out from and instead signed a CEPA agreement. But to your mind, looking ahead 5-10 years, where would you like to see your country's relation with the EU in such a time frame?
Thanks very much. Before going to that question, I would want to say, good job done so far as Armenia is concerned. I think the summer survey has shown 92% of the Armenian public considering relations with the European Union as very good. So that's a good job done on communication. Absolutely agree with the points made on exactly what I have in mind when I talk about strategic significance, effective multilateralism. We, especially the small nations, we depend on that. This is an absolutely important platform for effective multilateralism, especially amongst countries who share values. 5 to 10 years on, that's exactly where we have been benefiting from, how we continue to benefit from. In relations with the European Union, relations with Europe, relations within Europe. I think the important challenge is to spread the sense of the eastern flank of Europe further towards other parts of Europe. Poland and Sweden have been very important as the engine of developing the concept of the Eastern Partnership. But spreading that sense of mutual dependence, of significance of the eastern flank to every part of Europe, I think that's a very important challenge. Developing the shared value-based relationship, developing those, our SAPA, basically, gives us the absolute opportunity to raise the level of our development according to the model we're striving at. Like the sectoral cooperation within SAPA gives us that opportunity. So let's get the best of it. We have shown the powers of political will so far as anti-corruption is concerned, democratic institutions, and so on and so forth. We know that's not enough. We have to institutionally further strengthen and enhance that. And that's what we're doing, and that's where the European Union remains an important partner to us. And those are just examples of how we are evolving. We have this evolution of relations. It carries on. It carries on. We square it into the bigger picture of those security challenges we're dealing with. And our security challenges are pretty complex, not exactly the subject to discuss now. But within that, the European Union has been an important security provider in terms of both the institutional strength, institutional capacities, the values. That mattered for 28 years, it's going to matter further on. This is the playground we live in, we work with, and this is very important. This is how it's going to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Minister Mnatsakanyan, what can Armenia offer in terms of cooperation for the EU?
Well, Armenia is very comfortable in its playground. Armenian people have been contributing to the collective sense of Europe. The shared security, the shared development, this is what is important for all, let alone wine, brandy, good creative education, good smart development. But those are specific, those are the practical things.
Yeah.
What do we offer out of cooperation? Exactly what cooperation is for, But it is coming back with that sense of stronger shared values and contributing to the common home of Europe through this cooperation. That is the sense of a common house. And I do agree that we have an excellent process on a structured conversation concerning the next 10 years. This has to be kept up. There are many good, interesting ideas which make more tangible. Within this format, it's a general talk. But I think within this structured conversation, I think we have a plethora of interesting ideas about the way in which we find the ways of contributing mutually to what is good to all of us. The sense of a common home, that's the biggest thing.
Thank you, Minister.